welcome back to my channel. And as you can see, I have a very special guest with me, my mama. Thank you for joining me. You're welcome. So basically, you know, as my channel is about empowering women and giving women a voice in the industry. And I thought a great place to start is talking about feminism and what feminism is to you, me, and to my mum. And my mum's another generation to me, so I thought it would be good to hear just how it is from your perspective. Because times have changed, and every decade I feel like is different, and every generation has a different point of view and understanding and things like that. So, first question or discussion. So it is going to be questions and answers, but it's more of a discussion than it is this is what it is and this is how it is for everybody else. It's just what we think ourselves and how you see it as well. So yeah, I think it's really important to be able to have this discussion because we had a discussion yesterday and I felt that it was really heartwarming and important, which inspired me to want to film this. So, Mum, okay, what is feminism to you?
To me, feminism is being strong, being a strong woman, knowing who you are first and foremost. When you know who you are, then you know what you can say yes to and how you need to set boundaries. So as a woman, I don't look at feminism as a negative thing, but more so as a positive thing.
It's funny that you say negative because I know growing up having conversations with like baby boys in my school and things like that, and if I'd say something about like girl power or something, they'd be like, oh, are you one of them? Like, are you a feminist? And then it makes you feel like, oh, maybe being a feminist is bad, so you'll be like, oh no, I'm not a feminist, but I just believe in girls coming together or women supporting each other. But it's the fact that I found it really weird that we had to defend the term feminism and being a feminist because for some reason it had some like insulting undertones to the name, and I felt like that was completely wrong because being a feminist to me is believing that women are enough and whatever spectrum of woman you are, that you are enough. There's not just one mold for you to be in. And I feel like as women we should be able to empower each other because there's enough room for you to be successful and for me to be successful. Growing up, it's a lot of the times that only the one princess got the Prince Charming, and only the one princess got out of the woods or whatever, and only the one princess was the fairest of them all. Which to me, growing up, I felt, you know, there's more than one girl in the world.
Yes.
And if we grow up thinking, oh, it's only me that's going to have a happy ending, when we see someone else having a happy ending, we get upset because if she takes it, then I'm not going to have it. It's the kind of subconscious we grow up with. So I think that's wrong.
I think feminism has really had the wrong end of the stick because people haven't really understood what it means.
Yeah.
And I think even us women haven't really understood it, so we felt that we needed to defend ourselves.
Yeah.
Really, a feminist is not somebody who wants to women to rule the world or take over from men. But a feminist, I believe, is somebody who's confident, a woman who's confident in who she is, knows who she is and what she wants, what makes her happy, and she's able to stand up for herself. So when I was growing up, we didn't really have the term or talk about the term feminist. And I think I personally never really thought about it, didn't really think about the differences between gender, male or female. I just was raised to believe that I could do anything that a man could do. But as I grew older, I realized that there is in the world people looked at it that there was a difference between men and women, and people would use the term "it's a man's world." And therefore, since it's a man's world, that means that men ruled and women just followed, or didn't deserve as much as men. But basically, I think that men and women have their roles, and it's not about being a male or female role, but more as what are your talents, what are your gifts. That's really how I find it, and how confident are you in who you are, so that you can confidently stand up for the things that you believe in, and confidently stand up for what you want to do.
I think that's really good that you said it's not about women trying to take over the world, which is something that a lot of people think feminism is, because when you see all these extreme posts and people marching, we just assume that it's because we want to take over and change the world completely, which I don't think is what we're saying or what we're marching for. I think we're marching because there's a lot of people who have overlooked what women can bring to the table, and there's a lot of people who dismiss women without getting to know their talents or to know what they're good at, and to hear a voice and hear an opinion, and not only to hear it but to let it go, sink in, and to be able to consider that when they're making decisions, let's say. Because you said you grew up hearing that you could do anything that anyone else could do, but there's a lot of people who hear that and then they come to the outside world and they realize that other people don't think like that. So a wall gets put up as to they're trying to oppress me, which is why they're willing to stand and fight for it. But a lot of people are raised as well to believe that, a woman is here and a man is here, which I think is also, not to discredit anyone's parenting, but it's quite dangerous when you're teaching people, because people lose their value when you're teaching them that someone else has more right to succeed, or someone else is entitled to a better life than you. Then you struggle to know what you can achieve, and when things come along, certain opportunities come along, you might not take it because you're like, I don't know if I deserve something that good. Which I think is completely makes no sense at all, because if an opportunity is there, I always believe that you should seize it, whether you're male or female, or young or old, because opportunities are there for a reason, and you don't want to miss out on things and have to live with so much regret.
Absolutely. One of the things I find though is when you're raised the way I was, where whether you were male or female, you could do, you were, my dad encouraged us to do, what we felt we could do. And we shouldn't really look and think that we couldn't do something. Basically, he raised us to believe that we could do anything. But what happens out in the world is that people like me are then looked at as being maybe pushy or aggressive, because you're doing something vigorously, or doing something with so much energy because you believe in it. And then people tend to look and think, oh, why is she so aggressive about that? But if a man was doing the same thing, they wouldn't say the man was aggressive. They would look at him and it would look natural for the man to do that.
Because I was going to ask you, what do you think about words like bossy and mean or bitchy? when people say that, what do you think? What kind of human do you think they're describing? When someone comes up to you and says, "Oh, that person's so bossy," immediately what gender comes to your...
Normally, I mean, I would say to me, I know they're talking about women because they would never say things like that about men, really.
Yeah.
Most people, and even women ourselves, we would say about a woman who's strong and who is assertive, that she's bossy or, bitchy. That kind of stuff comes out about women because she's standing up for what she believes, or, being more assertive about what it is she wants done. Men normally, women also as men, we look at them as, oh, that they're just asking for, they want things done the right way. And they're not looked at as bossy or bitchy, especially in the workplace.
And why do you think that is? Do you think because we are raised to think that women don't really stand up for what they want, or women are meant to be polite and ladylike? Is that why when we see a woman asserting herself and putting her foot down and being authoritative, what's the word? Authoritative. Do you think, we think it's unnatural? Why are we intimidated by something like that?
I'm not sure why we feel like that. Maybe because we see ourselves, we compare ourselves to other women, but we don't compare ourselves to men for some reason. So because we're comparing ourselves to other women, then we expect that we have expectations of them to behave a certain way.
Yeah.
And if they don't meet those expectations, then we think they're, out of line, bossy, or, going overboard. And those kind of feelings come perhaps from ourselves or our own upbringing, or maybe things we heard in the past, or even television shows that we might watch. And I think over the generations, women have been made to believe, and no matter what the generation, there is always some way that it's put into women, even when they're being raised with brothers in the home, that, boys are allowed to do certain things and girls aren't allowed to do certain things. So that in itself creates a divide right from the start. So when you become an adult and you see a woman who's doing that thing you were told when you were a child, that girls aren't meant to do this. Girls are meant to be ladylike. Girls aren't meant to say certain things. Then you look at that woman and think, oh, she really isn't the type of, she's not a woman per se. You think she's bossy. You think she's aggressive. You think that she's stepped out of line. That's really, I think, what where that comes from.
So, if you were to raise me all over again and have the pleasure of raising me all over again, what are the 5 qualities that you would ensure to teach me and to instill in me growing up?
I'm not sure that I have 5 qualities exactly to give, but I'll name a few things that I think, and I think you already have those qualities. Sometimes I think because of our characters, we develop these things, whether we bring them out in our children or not. They're there, they come out because that's who God's created you to be, or that child to be. So those characteristics are there. Now, whether they're developed and strengthened depends on how much you put into the child. But I would say in raising a girl, I would say definitely allowing her to be who she is, helping her discover who God's created her to be. And that includes developing her gifts, and not trying to impose your gifts or your ideas or your talents onto your child. And then also a second thing would be letting them be creative, not don't be too strict on academics, but allow the child to explore and show them a lot more about the world rather than just about school. Let them try their hands at different things, different gifts, different activities, not just what we see in school. But because there's so many different gifts out there, and we're so focused, or like we've narrowed in on just academics. Thirdly, I would say it's important that we allow our children to know that we love them. Giving them that time, spending time with them, letting them know they matter is so important to raising a girl. Maybe boys aren't so focused because they're always playing. They have football, different things that but girls are very more sensitive in the sense that you need to spend time. And this is not about differentiating between girls and boys. If a boy is sensitive, then you spend the time that they need with them as well. But I find that with girls mostly, they have questions that, you being the mom, they want to find out more about themselves. They want to find out more about you. So spending that time and having quality time, a one-on-one with your daughter is very important. Fourth, I'd have to think.
Do you think it's important to spend that one-on-one time because it's like affirming who they are, so that when they go out into the world, no one can say can tell them something, and then they're like, oh, maybe that's who I am.
Yes. I think it's very important, and letting them talk and develop their voice with you, and so that when they go out into the world, or when you're not there, they're able to have a voice out there. With their friends, they'll have a voice. If they're able to have a voice with you, then with their friends they'll be able to have a voice. But if they're not able to develop that voice with you, when they go out there, then they're looking for a voice. And whoever affirms them in whatever they come up with, which might not be the right thing, then that might be the voice, and you don't want that to be, if that's not who they are, then you don't want them to develop in that area.
Speaking of knowing who you are, how did you feel growing up when I wouldn't call it an obsession, but I had a real fascination with Britney Spears? And if we could, okay, I'll explain it for YouTube. When I was younger, I really loved Britney Spears. I really felt like I was going to grow up and become her in some kind of way. I felt like I was going to have blonde hair and blue eyes, and somehow I was just going to turn into her because I really loved her music. But I don't know what I latched on to. I really felt like her songs were empowering in some ways, and just really like, late 90s kind of like girl pop. But how did you deal with that?
I'm not sure how I came across to you, but when you'd come back from school and you'd ask me, why can't you dye your hair blonde? And, why is your hair this color? Oh, my friend's hair is blonde. And, and you then talk about Britney Spears the whole day. Really, inside of me, I was a bit concerned. And I didn't really know what the answer to give you. But I believe I just took baby steps. And just try to answer little questions and narrow it down to those things, and not let you see fear in my eyes. Because my prayer was that you would, from day to day, as I affirmed you, that you were beautiful the way you are. God's given you talents that will come out and be developed. And I looked at the talents that you had and helped you, encouraged you in those talents. My prayer was that slowly you would, come out of that.
But you weren't like, no Britney Spears, no playing the music anymore. Well, why do you think you didn't do that?
Because I think somehow I'd seen so much parents, or have seen so many parents telling their children, you can't do that, or you can't do this. And I didn't feel that it solved the problem.
Yeah.
It only opened a window for the child to hide those things from the parents.
Yeah.
So it shut the door to conversation. And I didn't want that door of conversation shut between me and you.
Yeah.
I wanted us to be able, no matter what it was, you being able to talk to me about it, so that we can then resolve it. And even if I didn't have an answer for you right there and then, I would, go away, pray about it, seek and talk to other people about it and come up with an answer for you. So really, I didn't want that door shut. And I didn't also want a child who would then regress into themselves and not be able to talk to anybody. Instead live in their minds rather than live out in the world. And so, and if that happened, there would be no way to reach you in trying to tell you you're beautiful as you are. You have beautiful hair, you've got lovely talents and things like that.
So what advice would you give any young person maybe watching this today, or any parent that has a daughter?
I would say prayer is very key. Spending time with your daughter is very key. Making time, even if you've got 3-4 daughters, make time for each one of them and never compare your children. Make sure that you spend time with them, find out what their talents are and encourage them individually, and spend time talking to them. No matter how shocking the information they tell you, don't look shocked. Just keep it to yourself and then deal with it. Not from a point of fear and anxiety, but from a point of being a parent and knowing that you are gifted, you have this child, and definitely you have the ability to be able to assist them in their development.
So what's one quality about yourself that you really like?
I would say I am a strong person. I am a strong person. If I take on a project, I will finish it. I will give it my all. And I like to give whatever I do, I like to give it my all, 100%.
For me, I really like how much passion I have for things. I think when I was younger, it used to be quite overwhelming how much passion I had for something, because I didn't know how to go about it. But as I've grown up, I've really learned to really love the passion I have for writing, the passion I have for other women, for passion that I have for drama and things like that. So what's one quality about each other that we really like?
I think you're a strong woman, definitely, Valerie, and I'm very proud to be your mom. I like the way you're not afraid to step out and do something different. And you go out there day after day chasing what you believe, in writing, in acting, and those are not easy things to do. But you do it day after day, and you do it with a passion. I like that.
I like the fact that you really have a heart for other people. I think it's how much selflessness you have is really inspiring, because you're always willing to take someone from A to B, even if you already got to D already. You'd go back and help them and pick them up and carry them to the next step, because you always feel like you see something in people and you really want that to come out so they can live the best life for them. So that's really nice. Thank you, YouTube, and thank you for watching. And please comment below if you learned anything or you want us to discuss anything in the future. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to all your friends.